12 hours before the 2011 Tōhoku earthquake, the most powerful ever recorded in Japan. Animals across northeastern Japan stopped making noise. Every dog, every bird, silence. The ocean pulled back from the shore, exposing 300 feet of seafloor. Thousands of people walked toward it to look at the exposed seabed. The people who ran toward the hills lived. The people who walked toward the water did not. One of those signals, the ocean pulling back, has been documented in Pacific communities for over 800 years. Run from the water that retreats. It is coming back. And right now, with 5 deep earthquakes in the Pacific in the last 18 days, and a 36-year planetary alignment converging above the most stressed fault zone on Earth, there is a body of knowledge that has been warning about moments like this for longer than the United States has existed, and Western science is only now beginning to understand why it works. Stay for minute 6, because that is the moment this becomes personal. At 4 minutes, the natural warning signs that appear before major earthquakes. Documented by USGS NASA and independent researchers that nobody taught you to recognize. At 6 minutes, the Tonga eruption of 2022, the villages that survived, and the 800-year-old knowledge system that made the difference. Best part is at 9 minutes. Stay for it. And at 13 minutes, if you live anywhere on the U.S. West Coast, Hawaii or Alaska, a specific guide for your situation right now. Let's go. First, why the Pacific is the zone that matters most right now. The Tonga-Kermadec Trench, the most geologically unusual place on this planet. Most tectonic plates sink into the mantle at an angle like a ramp. The Pacific plate at Tonga-Kermadec goes nearly straight down, like an elevator shaft plunging into the core. It is the only place on Earth where earthquakes can originate at 430 miles underground. In the last 18 days, 5 significant earthquakes in this zone. The deepest 406 miles down, no aftershocks, no surface expression. The energy didn't release upward, it redistributed sideways into the shallower fault system sitting above it right now. A tsunami from a major event in the Tonga-Kermadec zone reaches the Hawaiian Islands in approximately 5 hours. It reaches the U.S. West Coast, Oregon, Washington, Northern California in approximately 10 to 12 hours. That is the travel time, not the warning time. The warning time from detection to alert is significantly shorter. Now what the science says about warning signs that precede major events. And I want to be clear, this is documented research, not folklore, not speculation, peer-reviewed, published, verifiable. Minute 4, 5 signals, all documented. Signal 1, radon gas. Radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas that seeps through cracks in rock when fault systems under stress begin to microfracture. Before any surface movement, radon release from groundwater spikes measurably. This was documented before the 2001 Bhuj earthquake in India. Magnitude 7.7, 20,000 dead radon in local wells spiked 3 days before. Japanese researchers have monitored radon in groundwater near fault zones since 1995. Following the Kobe earthquake, and the correlation is consistent. Signal 2, electromagnetic anomalies. In the days before large earthquakes, low-frequency electromagnetic pulses have been detected in the ground around fault zones. These pulses interfere with AM radio, causing static and signal dropout in areas that normally receive clean reception. This has been documented before multiple California earthquakes. Before the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake, anomalous radio interference was reported across the Bay Area for several days prior. Signal 3, groundwater changes. Wells near active fault zones sometimes show sudden changes in water level rising or dropping by inches or feet. With no corresponding rainfall or drought, this reflects changes in subsurface pressure. USGS maintains a network of groundwater monitoring wells specifically for this purpose. The data is publicly accessible at waterdata.usgs.gov. Signal 4, animal behavior. This is the one that gets dismissed most often and has the strongest documented record. Before the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, magnitude 9.1, 230,000 dead wildlife reserves in Sri Lanka reported that elephants moved to higher ground hours before the waves arrived. Flamingos abandoned low-lying breeding grounds. Dogs refused to go outdoors. USGS researchers have documented similar behavioral anomalies in captive animals, measurable changes in movement patterns, hours before earthquakes in regions where their facilities are located. The current hypothesis: animals detect infrasound and subtle ground vibrations, frequencies far below human hearing that precede surface rupture by hours. Signal 5, earthquake lights. This one has been filmed. In the hours or days before major earthquakes, luminous phenomena appear in the sky. Bluish or white flashes of light, glowing columns, luminous clouds. They were filmed before the 2008 Sichuan earthquake in China, magnitude 7.9, 87,000 dead. They were filmed before the 2010 Haiti earthquake, multiple verified camera recordings, both events. The mechanism confirmed by NASA research published in 2014 is electrical charge buildup in rocks under extreme compressive stress, releasing upward through the atmosphere as visible electromagnetic discharge. The rock itself, before it breaks, glows, and communities in the Pacific have known this for centuries. Minute 6. The Tonga Eruption, January 15, 2022. The Tonga-Ha'apai volcano, a submarine volcano in the Pacific, erupted with a force equivalent to hundreds of nuclear weapons. The pressure waves circled the Earth multiple times, detected on every continent. The eruption column reached 58 kilometers into the atmosphere, the highest ever recorded by modern instruments. It generated a tsunami that struck 11 countries across the Pacific. Peru, 10,000 miles away, had people killed by the waves. Now here is what happened in the villages closest to the eruption. 2 villages on the Tongan island of Nomuka, 15 miles from the volcano, evacuated completely before the tsunami waves arrived. Not because of a modern warning system. The warning system had gone offline. Not because of satellite alerts. Communications had been severed. Because the village elders recognized a specific sequence of signs, taught without interruption for over 800 years, that their community had learned to associate with catastrophic waves. The sound of the eruption had a specific low-frequency quality. The behavior of the reef fish changed in a specific way. The ocean surface, even before the waves, had a specific texture of movement that their knowledge system named and described. They moved to high ground. Every person in both villages survived. A neighboring village that had lost its oral transmission of this knowledge 3 generations earlier did not evacuate in time. The difference between those outcomes was not technology. It was 800 years of unbroken observation passed from elder to child, of how the ocean behaves before it turns against you. This is not anecdote. It was documented by researchers from the University of Auckland in a 2023 paper in Nature Geoscience. The paper's conclusion, traditional ecological knowledge in Pacific communities, encodes multi-generational observations of precursor patterns that modern sensor networks are only beginning to detect. Minute 9, the part I told you to stay for. Here is something that connects the indigenous knowledge tradition to the planetary alignment happening right now. The Maori of New Zealand, whose traditional territory spans one of the most seismically active regions on Earth, have a concept called Kuaha, the threshold, the open door. It describes moments when the boundary between the stable world and the unstable world becomes thin enough to pass through. These moments were tracked by watching the sky, specifically the movements of planets and their relationships to each other. Not because the Maori believed planets directly caused earthquakes, but because across hundreds of generations of continuous observation, certain planetary configurations consistently preceded periods of instability. Geologically, climatically, and in human affairs. The Maori did not separate these 3 categories. Earth, sky, and human world were one continuous system. When the sky entered a threshold configuration, you prepared the ground. You did not wait for the ground to tell you first. Right now, Earth is in alignment with Saturn and Neptune. Saturn conjunct Neptune in Pisces, a water sign, for the first time in a generation. The Maori concept of Tangaroa, the Atua of the ocean, is associated with both Neptune's astronomical position and the deep Pacific seismic zone. In Maori tradition, when Tangaroa stirs, you do not stand on the shore and wonder what is happening. You move to higher ground first, then you watch. I am not asking you to adopt a cosmology you don't hold. I am showing you that the instinct encoded across multiple Pacific traditions to treat sky configurations as advance notice from the ground has been confirmed by 800 years of survival data. That is more longitudinal data than any modern seismic network has. The Hawaiian tradition of reading ocean swell patterns, called wayfinding, includes specific swell signatures that precede large seismic events, not the tsunami itself, the ocean's behavior in the days before. Polynesian navigators who crossed the Pacific without instruments could read changes in deep ocean swell that no modern instrument currently monitors. NOAA's DART buoy system, the Deep Ocean Assessment and Reporting of Tsunamis, monitors ocean pressure on the seafloor. There are 39 DART buoys in the Pacific. You can watch them in real time at ncei.noaa.gov/hazards/DART. Each buoy monitors bottom pressure for sudden changes that indicate tsunami generation. When a buoy detects an anomaly, it triggers a NOAA Pacific Tsunami Warning Center alert. That alert reaches local emergency management in the affected coastal areas within minutes. But the alert goes out after the event begins, not before. The traditional knowledge went out before. That gap between when the modern system alerts and when the traditional knowledge alerts is measured in hours. Those hours are the difference. Minute 13. If you live on the U.S. West Coast, Hawaii, or Alaska. Here's your specific guide for this current window. Step 1. Know your tsunami evacuation zone. Every coastal county in Washington, Oregon, and California has published tsunami inundation maps. Search your county name plus tsunami inundation map. These maps show exactly which areas flood and at what wave heights. Most people who live in tsunami zones have never looked at these maps. Step 2. Know your route. From where you are right now, where is the nearest high ground, not a hill on a map, a specific route, a specific destination? Walk it once, not if you feel like it, once this week. Step 3. Know the natural warning signs. The ocean pulling back from the shore. Exposing the seafloor is not a curiosity, it is an evacuation order. Do not walk toward it, do not take photos, run! A strong earthquake that lasts more than 20 seconds while you are near the coast is itself a natural tsunami warning. You do not need to wait for a siren. If you feel strong shaking for 20 seconds or more, move to high ground immediately. Step 4. N. OAA Tsunami Alerts. Sign up for wireless emergency alerts. They are already active on your phone by default, and make sure they have not been turned off in your settings. Check right now. Settings, notifications, emergency alerts. All 3 toggles: extreme, severe, amber should be on. Check them now. Step 5. The PTWC, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, publishes real-time tsunami bulletins at tsunami.gov. Bookmark it. It is updated within minutes of any significant Pacific event. Now, one more thing, the most important thing in this video. When the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami struck the communities that had 0 casualties, were not necessarily the communities with the best warning technology. They were the communities that had maintained the oral tradition, the specific, local, embodied knowledge of how their particular stretch of ocean behaves before it turns dangerous. The Moken people of the Andaman Sea, a sea nomadic people who had been living on the water for centuries, survived almost entirely because their elders knew the sign, called Laboon, the wave that eats people. When the sea pulls back, that is Laboon drawing breath. You do not stay to watch Laboon breathe. The oldest safety system on Earth is pattern recognition. Humans survived for 200,000 years without seismographs and satellites, by paying attention to how the world behaves before it moves. Right now, the Pacific is sending signals, 5 deep earthquakes in 18 days. A 36-year planetary alignment active, a comet approaching the sun on April 4th. The sky and the ground are both talking. The only question is whether you are listening. Share this with anyone you know who lives on a Pacific coast, in Hawaii, the West Coast, Alaska, Japan, New Zealand, the Philippines. Not because disaster is certain, because the 5 steps above take 30 minutes, and the cost of not having done them cannot be undone afterward. Here is what is coming in the next video, and the timing is not coincidental. April 4th is 38 days away. A 1.5-mile wide comet reaches the sun. 2 outcomes, a coin flip. And right now, the only way to know which is to watch a specific set of data points on a specific countdown. Week by week, sign by sign. The next video is that countdown. Every milestone between now and April 4th. Exactly what to watch, exactly where to watch it, and exactly what each sign means for what comes next. Subscribe so you see it when it drops. The algorithm will not show it otherwise. The Pacific is not quiet right now. Pay attention.